Time to check out all the cool stuff you can watch right now from Fox 32 on Fox Local.
Chicago. We've got the most recognizable buildings in the world. Our skyline is an eclectic mix of classic architecture and mind-bending modern design. And no one building in Chicago right now personifies this mix of old and new, quite like the Tribune Tower.
Located here on Michigan Avenue, Tribune Tower has secrets around every corner and a story, it seems, on every floor. And now, a new owner is transforming Chicago history into luxury downtown living. And I'm going to take you inside the tower for a look few people get to see.
It was the world's greatest office building at one point. When we bought it, it wasn't the world's greatest office building. But the whole idea was, let's make this the world's greatest building.
Lee Golub is the managing principal at Golub & Company. His hands have touched tons of buildings throughout downtown Chicago, and he's responsible for the Tribune Tower's incredible 2.0 renovation.
We needed to make the building modern in today's world, but we also didn't want to lose the history.
In the roaring 20s, the Chicago Tribune needed a new home and held a design competition open to any architect on the planet. The winning design came from these two New Yorkers who pocketed $50,000 in prize money and some major Michigan Avenue bragging rights. The building's Gothic design looked more Eastern Europe than Windy City, but quickly found a home in Chicago's beloved skyline. Tribune, the company, left the tower in 2018. It was a big deal goodbye, leaving many to wonder what the Tribune Tower could be without the Tribune in it.
People don't realize everything else around the property of the tower was not landmarked. You have the tower itself, which was kind of landmarked. Some of the facades of the tower were landmarked, and the lobby were landmarked. That was it. Hotel, retail, office, apartments, condos, parking. It could have been all of those.
At the end of the day, Lee chose a mix of high-end condos while adding more shops along the Mag Mile, powered by a design ethos to go big and be inspired by the history. You can see this in action in the tower's impressive main lobby.
For me, the first thing I notice in here, the elevator doors.
These are the original elevator doors.
Yeah,
but I want to show you this little nice trick that we came up with. This looks like that.
It sure does. Come on.
This
Ooh,
is
behind the curtain.
This is the fireman's car that the coal flue used to be. And so this is basically was refabricated by a gentleman in Southern Illinois.
To match the original.
Match the original. So to make the door for landmark purposes, because this is part of the landmark in the lobby, we had to make that look like one of the elevator doors.
Wow.
It's astounding.
Even more astounding, the $1 million just hanging on the lobby wall.
This map is made out of $1 million in singles of currency that was taken out of commission and paper mache. Yeah, this is just amazing.
Relics like the lobby map are all around the Tribune Tower, giving the developers a series of nonstop challenges to design around and a few surprises along the way.
They found 3 time capsules. And there's a baseball in there, and it was in really bad shape. There was an envelope in the time capsule that had a letter from the sports editor of the Chicago Tribune. This baseball was used in Game 5 of the 1919 World Series between the Chicago White Sox and the Cincinnati Reds, and was used to strike out a World Series record 6 Chicago White Sox batters at the time.
Lee plans to show off discoveries like that history-making baseball in a Trib Tower museum at a later date. Right now, we're off to the 3rd floor, where the original Chicago Tribune newsroom is now a gargantuan space to party and play.
This used to be a conference room on the 3rd floor for the newsroom. You know, we have so much space, we were trying to figure out what to do with everything. So, Monopoly game, chess, backgammon, pool. And if we didn't furnish and touch and make every space great, you'd think, well, why did they stop?
So when you walk around, what gives you the most pride?
Everywhere you look, you have history of the Tribune. This is one of my favorite pieces. This is the landmark lobby in a vision of one of the artists. And so there's artwork all around the building where you just don't lose, you cannot miss the history of the Tribune.
You certainly can't miss the centerpiece of the 3rd floor lounge, a fireplace from the original office of Colonel Robert McCormick, legendary publisher of the Chicago Tribune.
This was part of the building that was not landmarked. We knew that it was a very special piece.
And I love the idea. The newspaper is an institution developed by modern civilization to present the news of the day, and it goes on from there. In fact, there are famous quotes and words of wisdom inscribed on surfaces throughout the tower, from philosophers and politicians to judges and journalists.
Lee says it would take us an entire day to read them all.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent, the United States will enjoy freedom of the press just so long. Parapets tipped with silver lances, keep gleaming, vigil beneath the moon.
Of all the historical relics in the tower, it was the Tribune's sign that created the most drama.
So this is the original Chicago Tribune sign that we took down letter by letter to refurbish it. I believe in Madison, Wisconsin, we went to an auto repair place.
Tribune threatened to take the sign with them to their new home at the Prudential Building, but the lease said Lee had the right to buy it for $1.
We ended up in a lawsuit on the sign. And I said, you're gonna lose in court. You're gonna lose in the court of a public opinion.
In the end, the company let Lee keep the sign, provided they advertised condo listings in the paper.
So what's next? Crown?
We got to go up there to the
Going
Crown.
up.
We're
Yeah,
going to
let's
the
do it.
Crown.
Let's do it.
A quick trip to the top of the tower brings you to what is probably the Trib's most show-stopping experience.
This is the stunning architecture that will never get built again.
Is there a better venue in the city of Chicago to have an event of any kind?
No. In the summertime, you're sitting here drinking your wine, having champagne, smoking a cigar. It's the best event space in the city.
A crowning achievement in a building that's a perfect representation of Chicago in just about every way. Well, almost perfect.
There's one mistake that was made that I always ask people if they can find it. You can find the one mistake they had to come back and fix.
You've done this tour before, I know. You're the official
Once or
tour
twice.
guide.
Once or twice.
It must give you great pleasure to show it off.
Every time. It's preserving the city.
It's the no-expense-spared renovation and attention to detail that makes the new Tribune Tower the place to be. So, what would it feel like if Tribune Tower was your home address? We have Karen Randich Stone, sales consultant for the towers, and we're about to see a fantastic unit. What are we looking at?
We're going to be looking at Residence 902. It is our model.
Let's check it out.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, wow.
Pretty
Look at
great,
this.
right?
Look at that view too, right out the
Isn't
window.
this amazing? This unit is 3,251 square feet, 3-bed, 3.5 bath. All bedrooms here are en suites.
For a 1920s building, what strikes you is how much light comes in, right? To be able to look
at
out your
this.
window
Look at this.
and see this, and the kitchen is spectacular.
Isn't it beautiful? Natural stone quartzite. Galley workstation's one of my favorite pieces here because it's a big sink and you have these accessories that come with every unit here.
So Karen, where are we going now?
We're going to the primary suite. 4 closets in this, 2 walk-ins and 2 reach-in.
Right.
10-foot ceilings.
Right.
And this is a unique residence. So you have the opportunity to buy this unit completely furnished.
So we've seen the unit. What is this going to cost me?
So this unit, completely designed, is $4.7 million.
So you can buy anything you see here is available.
Actually, when you buy this unit, you get everything. We hand you the key. You get everything.
Karen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's really something.
It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be part of the project.
Chicago may be expanding and the skyline evolving, but you'll never be able to build a building like Tribune Tower again. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some business to attend to in the newsroom.
Like what you see? More local sports talk and original Fox 32 Chicago stories are just one click away. Check out the Fox Feature section on Fox Local.
Somewhere outside of Chicago, we're not allowed to tell you where, buried deep underground, there is a room.
Take a look at this thing.
And inside that room
This is the treasure room door, and it's my treasure room door.
This is unbelievable.
lies pure movie magic.
Wow.
Come on in.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
We don't need roads.
Where? Back to the future.
This is the Mr. Fusion from Back to the Future 1 and 3.
He's on a hoverboard.
Hoverboard from the second and
From
third
number
film. I collect this stuff because I love film. I love movies. I love TV. I love the art. I love the fantasy of it.
That belongs in a museum.
You have to love film. You have to love what is going on in film, to learn about it, to learn how it's made, and to see all the amazing artists that produce all of this cool stuff.
Avengers! Assemble.
Collectors are very obsessive of all types of stuff, whether it's toys, stamps, coins. Prop collectors are no different than that. Prop collectors tend to come across as experts of a specific film. I don't think of myself as an expert, even though I collect this stuff, because there's so much information.
Dan Lanigan is, at the end of the day, a movie fan.
The Night Before Christmas.
This is Halloween, this is Halloween, pumpkin scream in the middle.
Mostly puppets, a few stand-ins, but set pieces as well.
He's made his passion his profession. He's a well-respected filmmaker and producer. But it's in this underground room, a museum to movies, its Chicagoland location sworn to secrecy, that you can best learn just who exactly Dan Lanigan is. Because while most of us just watch movies, Dan lives among them.
From The Matrix, this is Keanu Reeves' costume. Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator 2.
His 6,000-piece personal collection of iconic movie memorabilia is nerdvana for any fan of cinema history.
Here's Will Ferrell's costume from Elf.
Oh my God!
Corpse Bride.
From his collection of stop-motion models,
Beetlejuice Worm from Beetlejuice, that's a stop-motion puppet.
to his wall of weapons.
This Ghostbusters pack is from Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Harold Ramis wore this.
From some of the most iconic props ever held in cinema history.
That is the rock hammer
Yes.
that Tim Robbins used to break out of Shawshank Prison.
It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
To maybe the most recognizable black suit ever worn on the silver screen.
I got into collecting because it's a way to get closer to the film. You know, you can watch the movie and that's great. You can't go out and live it, but if you have a costume that the actor who played the character and you set up on a mannequin, now all of a sudden that becomes the character. Now Harrison Ford isn't in this mannequin, but it feels like Indy's standing there because this costume was worn on the set doing things that Indy did.
And those characters are practically breathing inside these walls. Every prop, every costume, every wall-mounted movie monster is screen-used and authentic. What you see here is what you see in the movies, even the bathroom.
This is a working bathroom that is designed to look like the bathroom in Moon, which actually a lot of the film takes place in. I found the right urinal and toilet and sink. And this door right here was one of the airlock doors from the movie. As you can see, gas may vent suddenly. Got Arnold Schwarzenegger's eraser gun.
And that heart right there is the beating heart
It is.
from Temple of Doom.
In the world of prop collecting, the community is super strong, very obsessed, and very into it.
And Dan has been very into it for over 20 years, acquiring thousands of props over that time. However, as deeply passionate as this motion picture pastime is, it's also an incredibly expensive one. This gun right here, Deckard's PKD, the blaster wielded by Harrison Ford in the 1982 film Blade Runner.
Blade Runner pistol.
Dan bought that at an auction for $270,000. However, he does insist it's less about the monetary value of any one item and more about its deep emotional tether to his love of movies.
I think the reason stuff goes for a lot of money is because there is this strong emotional attachment to it across the entire industry of collectors and filmgoers.
Dan's collection is so vast, he's had to put hundreds of extra treasures in a storage facility a few miles away. For safety purposes, he doesn't want us to reveal just where in the Chicagoland area this collection is housed. And while he doesn't allow just anyone to come down into this temple of Tinseltown, he does hope that one day, everyone will get the chance to enjoy his collection.
My goal is to eventually put this stuff in a museum because I feel it's important to share these pieces that when I bring people down here and they get emotional about seeing a prop. That is Harrison Ford's suit.
Oh my God.
That means it's important and it's inspiring to people, and I want to give that reaction to other people. I don't want to just reserve it for myself and a few select people.
For any movie fan, this is more than just a stash of stuff. It's a portal into their favorite movie, a breath of life into their most beloved characters. And maybe, just maybe, one last glimpse of a time gone by.
There's a tangible feel to it. It's a very strong emotional reaction. And I think that's ultimately why I started collecting and still collect to this day, is my emotional connection to these films and now these pieces.
There's more where that came from. More local sports talk and original Fox 32 Chicago stories are just one click away. Check out the Fox Features section on Fox Local.
All right, guys, give me the final word as we get set to drop the curtain on the regular season. Dan, I'll start with you.
For the Lions, it's recognition, and you can break it down in a number of different ways. We'll go micro. It's this game on Sunday against the Vikings. Recognize you have an opportunity to close this season strong. Recognize with each play what your assignment is, what the guy across from you is trying to do, and then go out and execute. Big picture, recognize where you are, what you've accomplished. You're a division champion. You're trying to put yourself in the best possible position to get to the playoffs and then do some damage. And then overall, just recognize what's in front of you. It's this opportunity that we haven't had in Detroit in 30 years to play a home playoff game, a chance to go into the postseason with some momentum, a chance to go in as a favorite in the first playoff game, and just all the things that are happening around you. It's respect, but it's also recognition of everything, and it's an ability to then go out and do your job. And they've done such a great job of it up until this point. I think they'll continue to do that, but you got a lot of young players that haven't ever been in this position before, and they have to understand what's expected of them. It doesn't get easier, it only gets harder. It got harder in December. We're now in January. It won't get any easier until they tell you your season's over. So recognize where you are and be ready for it.
I'll tell you what, Dan, I've recognized that those Lions deserve to be right up there at the top with the Eagles, the Niners, and the Cowboys when talking about the four best teams in the NFC. Tim, take it away.
I'm going eye-opening. I'm counting it as one word. I don't know if you guys will give me that, but I'll count it as one word. What in the world are the Packers doing in this position, right? They were littered with questions to start the season. All the dissension of Aaron Rodgers' departure and all the veterans off last season's team that wound up in New York with Aaron Rodgers, and the NFL story was centered out there with the New York Jets. And here the Packers are, having ridden their roller coaster to this situation like last year where they have one game left to move into the NFL playoffs. Matt LaFleur has ridden this thing right along. Jordan Love has been the big thing. Going into this season, a lot of people would have been content getting a handle on Jordan Love. An evaluation year. That's how I expected this season to go. Well, the evaluation for Jordan Love is an overwhelming success by him. And the Packers have to feel they have all the pieces in place again to be a very determined and competitive team going forward. Does that mean they win on Sunday against the Bears? I don't know. I think it's a tough matchup. I think Chicago has a ton to play for. Last year, the Packers got, they saw a team come in under Dan Campbell that wanted to win even though they had nothing to play for. And look what it's done for the Lions. I think the Bears might feel very much the same way this Sunday. But I think it's eye-opening for the Packers. Here they are in this situation. They have young players across the board. They'll have all kinds of money on the salary cap going into the next couple of seasons. They're very much a foundational piece in this division and probably once again in the NFL.
Yeah, they have been eye-opening, the Bears fans. I can tell you that, Tim, especially with, as you touched on, the youngest roster in the NFL. Ahmad, what about it in Minneapolis?
Vacation. That is my word for the Minnesota Vikings. They have played like they've been wanting to go on vacation the final 3 weeks of the season. They had their playoff fate in their hands. They controlled their own destiny. All they had to do was simply win out, and they were going to the playoffs, but they couldn't even do that. So I think the Vikings want to get to vacation. I think the front office, I think the coaches, they want a little bit of a rest because, as you guys alluded to earlier, the NFC North is going to be a gauntlet for years moving forward. Whether Justin Fields stays in Chicago or they get another quarterback, that defensive line is there to stay, along with Jordan Love and the Packers and what they have going on in Detroit. It's going to be tough sledding in the NFC North, and the Vikings have no idea what they're going to do this offseason, whether they're going to get a quarterback. They have so many holes to fill defensively, from the safety, cornerback positions to linebacker to the defensive line. So I think everyone needs a vacation. I know certain players have already talked about their flight schedules that they're scheduling for the week after this game to go on vacation, not to out any player. So like I said earlier, I don't think this team has a ton to play for. I think they see the writing is on the wall. They haven't played well the final 3 weeks of the season when they had a chance to lock up a playoff spot, and I don't see them finishing the season well. So vacation is on the mind for everyone. They need a chance to reset, relax and figure out who this team is going to be in 2024.
Hey, buddy, do me a favor. Tell Danielle Hunter that he should take a vacation to Chicago. We could use him as another pass rusher alongside Montez Sweat.
Detroit is beautiful this time of year, Danielle. Come this way, man.
Hey, someone turn off Dan Miller's mic. It's my
Draft
dance floor here.
Green Bay. Draft develop in Green Bay.
Hey, my word, guys, it's simple. And it's what will keep the Bears out of the playoffs this year. My word for the Bears is finish. Finish this season on a high note. Change the vibe of this great rivalry. The Bears have been kicked around by Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers for 20 years. I have scars that will live with me forever thanks to the Packers. It ends this Sunday. Set the foundation for next Sunday. The 2023 drive to this point, man, filled with bumps, bruises, long-lasting pain. Remember how you hurt after blowing leads to the Broncos, Lions, and Browns, Bears? Think about the playoff money you lost and where you would be if you just finished. The Bears' work is not done. One job remains this season, to finish Green Bay's season and to do it in the Packers' famed home, and that is Lambeau Field.
You can watch First and North Tuesday nights at 10 on Fox 32 or stream an extended episode with more sports talk anytime on Fox Local.
People like beer and they'll drive far places to get good beer, and we're lucky enough to be one of those places.
Brandon Wright knows that for a fact. He's the owner of Workforce Brewing, a craft beer brewery in Plainfield.
Sole location, and we like to pride ourselves being a destination location here in Plainfield. Known for a lot of our lagers, IPAs, and imperial stouts. We do brew an imperial stout called Sleepy Bear. It's a bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout. We've been lucky enough to win a bunch of awards for that one, so we pride ourselves on that beer.
Not only does he see customers come from near and far during their annual Oktoberfest, but also during a special release of one of his craft brews.
Furthest away that I've seen somebody come is from Kentucky. They came for one of our bourbon barrel-aged Sleepy Bear releases, which we had recently won an award for, and yeah, they drove all the way up from Paducah, Kentucky. There was a limit. It was one bottle per person, so they drove all the way to get a single bottle of Sleepy Bear, but it was worth it to them. We are lucky enough that we get people to come in from states away. We get a lot of people from Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Missouri. Part of the tourism side too is when they come to our brewery, they hit other local breweries in the area. So it actually works out for a lot of us that we kind of share in a lot of the clientele. You know, people come from far away to go through and take beer to go, to bring back home, share with their friends.
Yeah, we have seen a huge growth in beer tourism in St. Charles here locally. We are so lucky to have 6 local breweries here in St. Charles. And we created about 2 years ago a beer tour in St. Charles with all 6 of our local breweries. A challenge on our Travel St. Charles app that you can download for free. You can go to check into all 6 of our local breweries. If you go to all 6 breweries, you can do it spread out. You don't have to do it all in one day. And if you do that, then you get a t-shirt that has all 6 of our local breweries on the back.
Alter Brewing and Kitchen is one of them.
We're probably maybe the 20th largest independent craft brewer in the state of Illinois. We've got locations in Downers Grove, here in St. Charles, and Oak Brook. We opened about 6-7 months ago. And we're just known for great food, great beer, and a fun atmosphere. Popular Kid is our flagship beer. It's a pale ale. It's been around for about 6 years now, and it has all the hop brilliance that you would want from a pale ale. Not quite the bitterness that you would have in an IPA. And the name's great. We see about 15% of our reservations come from folks from out of town, and actually in Oak Brook, it's closer to about 30%. Craft beer is still pretty new. You know, it's been around for a while, but only about 15 to 20% of all beer consumed is craft, and that number continues to grow year over year over year. So I think as more people become introduced, when they visit locations, they're going to check out the local brewery.
The Illinois Craft Brewers Guild says more people are traveling to Illinois and exploring the state because of its breweries. Chris Curran, a well-known Chicago chef, and his wife Megan run the Graceful Ordinary restaurant in St. Charles.
We're an upscale American tavern, kind of a modern interpretation of a colonial-style tavern. We cook over a 12-foot wood-fired hearth where we do most of our dishes, and everything kind of ties back into the wood fire. The demographic that we get dining here is from all over the Chicagoland area, really. And I think the breweries are part of a reason why people would come to this area. You can go and hop from brewery to brewery and then, go out and have a nice meal.
We don't carry your normal domestics or imports that you would see at other places. We strictly support local breweries.
Every year we do an annual beer dinner. The first year that we did it was in line with the St. Charles 6. Release date, which is the 6 breweries in St. Charles. They all get together and they create one beer as a combined group. And we thought it would be an awesome opportunity for us to get all those breweries involved in a dinner here that was beer centric and beer focused, and then that it could also coincide with that release of the St. Charles 6.
Will County is also seeing some of that tourist traffic pour in.
We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary this year, and our second location in Channahon was opened February of this year. Our craft beer is unique. We have a couple different flagship beers that we do. Our flagship IPA is called Rocket Queen, and that's available all throughout the suburbs and stuff.
Bam Bam is fruited wheat. We won 2021. We won a gold medal for our fruited wheat. It's inspired by the Fruity Pebbles cereal. So we sell that all over the place. It's a really popular beer.
We're fortunate in this area to where we have 2 major crossroads not too far from us. A mile away we have I-55 and I-80. So we do get people that are traveling through the area.
And if you head back towards DuPage and Cook counties, craft brewers there are also seeing similar tourist traffic. Brian Widener is the CEO of Pollyanna Brewing and Distilling.
I think customers are just looking for a different experience. They can get beer at any bar or restaurant in their hometown, but the experiences we offer with making the product in the same room that they're drinking it, having live bands, food trucks, etc. I think we've always kind of, as a community of craft beer, drawn interest from customers coming into each of our locations. So while the brewers are really trained in every style of beer, they really hone in on traditional style lagers. So I would say, really our most metalled beer is an American light lager, or literally the beer that Macro Beer put on the map. So we've won both a gold medal and a bronze medal for light thinking, our American light lager.
When we asked the state's Office of Tourism about beer tourism here, we found out the appeal of Illinois beer growing across the globe.
So we're seeing a really important global uptake with our airlift and visitors from those countries leaning into beer tourism. The one thing that we're doing to put a spotlight on that is we have an Illinois Made Makers program. So we have over 236 makers, and we call these artisans. They are crafters, they're distillers, they're beer makers. And I think Illinois is a quality versus quantity story. So we have 7 beer trails right across the state that cover the regional aspect from the bottom of southern Illinois all the way up to Chicago, across to Quad Cities, Rock Island. Visitors are looking for that uniquely Illinois story and how that connects to local communities, how it connects to their own background, and particularly farm to table seems to be a real trend that is resonating, not just from food, but also beer. And so, for example, Tangled Roots in Ottawa here, their hops are grown in a local farm really close to their brewery, and people travel hours to go and have that experience knowing that it's local, it's sustainable. So a lot of our breweries in the state are really leaning into that, and that's top of mind for visitors.
Craft beers really became more popular on the coasts about 10 to 15 years ago. And the Midwest always kind of seems to catch up as it sweeps inland. So right now we're at an incredible time that almost every brewery in Illinois is making really, really good award-winning beer.
I think the water source probably has a lot to do with it. Lake Michigan has some of the best brewing water. Illinois has got some of the best beer around compared to Denver and New York and Portland and a lot of the other ones that are known for being brewery cities. Illinois has really been booming in the last few years.
We've all kind of worked together. We all know each other. We all have different concepts in a lot of ways. And frankly, we all kind of win together. I think we're finally on the map.
Thanks for watching this preview of Fox 32 on Fox Local, your smart TV hub for live newscasts, Chicago sports talk, and original Chicago stories. See you on the stream. 1982.
This crime captivated the nation.
A pill bottle poisoning sent Chicago into a panic.
Investigators say they are searching for a madman.
Killing 7 people and changing how we shop forever.
Over the years, you just thought nobody cares.
Over 4 decades later, why hasn't the Tylenol killer been caught? Streaming on your smart TV. Search Fox Local on these streaming platforms. Download and watch today.